Welcome back. This is AG3 CH4 Video number 2. We're still looking at the essential question, how can you multiply and divide square roots? So we're looking at some properties today. Our quotient property of square roots says the square root of a quotient equals the quotient of the square roots of the numerator and denominator. So what does this mean? So if we have the square root of the fraction 3 over 4, we can break this down into two separate square roots, it's being the square root of 3 over the square root of 4. Now, I have a handout that tells you some of the perfect square roots. We know that we can't take the square root of 3 to be a nice whole number, so we leave it at the square root of 3. But we do know the square root of 4 is 2, and so now we have the square root of 3 over 2. Simple idea. We have the square root of a fraction, we can separate it into the square root of both the numerator and the denominator in hopes that we can get one of them to a nice whole number. So let's practice this. We have the square root of 15 over 64. This becomes the square root of 15 over the square root of 64. Square root of 15 is not nice, but the square root of 64 is 8. We can also do this with algebraic terms. We have the square root of 81 over x squared, which breaks down to the square root of 81 over the square root of x squared. The square root of 81 is 9. Whenever you have a square as a radicand and you're taking the square root undoes the square, so all we're left with is our base, which is x. So we have some practice problems today. I would like for you to simplify the expressions, applying what we just learned. Notice we go from the square root to the cube root. I also gave you some of those. And so you're taking the cube root of 54, the cube root of 16, x fourth, and we're applying it to some fractions as well. Alright, if you need help, come see me. Start practicing.